And here we are back on the Capri. Finally we've got it running, and the last video was our road test. Did about 40 miles in it in searing heat because it was a very hot day, and it didn't overheat. It performed very well. A bit of clutch judder, a few little things. Check the video out just to see what occurred. But now we're on the for the final home stretch really, before I stop really working on this and enjoy driving it. We've got a few things to do, culminating in an MOT. And the first thing that we've got to do is the front oil seal and fan bearing. So without further ado, let's get the cover off and get it swapped out. Right, we've got an oil leak on the front main oil seal, which is down here behind the front main pulley. So we've got to take the pulley off, which is a 5/8 bolt, get that off. It should come off. I've had it off once before, undone the bolt, whole thing slides out. I haven't got to pull it or anything. Don't need to take the radiator out as far as I know. We've got 11 bolts around the outside of the cover, and we've got 6 that basically along the front edge of the sump, which basically connect the front cover to the sump. We've got to take the fan pulley off. There's no fan anymore because we've got electric fan, so it's a case of 4 bolts, and take out the bearing. The bearing's got to be pressed out. We've got to take it to somewhere that's got a press. I can't film there, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I may take a few photographs, but the gentleman where I'm taking it doesn't want to be on camera, so I will just photograph what we're doing, just so you can see how we've done it. Put the new bearing in, bring it all back, put it back together. I've got new gaskets for the front, but I haven't got a new gasket for the sump. I'm going to have to make that, especially if it's broken. So that's not a big issue. So we get these bolts undone, get the front pulley off, get the front fan pulley off, and we get the thing down to the press and get the bearing pressed out. Seems to quieten down a bit since I started running the engine, but there is a bit of play in it. And as I'm taking off the front cover to do the oil seal, I'm going to replace the bearing anyway, because it would be silly not to. I have the opportunity to do it, and I'll do it. I'd rather not have that collapse on me somewhere on a motorway somewhere, otherwise I'll be in trouble. One front pulley, complete with bolt. It's keyed on with a Woodruff key, so that's easy.
Okay, well, the sump gasket is still intact. The front cover gasket is not in great shape, but it wouldn't be. Hasn't been off for a while by the look of it. It's nice and clean in there. It's got the old composite cam gear in place, which would have expected anyway, because it hasn't been modified. These are a problem, especially if you're going to do some high power stuff like racing and stuff. You need to put a steel one in. But yeah, that's standard as it is, so all good there. Everything's pretty clean. I'm going to cover all this up so nothing can get in it while I'm away. The front seal looks like it's had better days. I've got a new one anyway, and we've got to knock out this bearing out of here, or rather push it out, because if we knock it we've got danger of breaking the aluminium front cover, because it is only aluminium and it's a funny shape, so we've got to press it. I think we've got to take off that flange as well.
Okay, well, there's some good news and some bad news. To get this bearing out, you've got to take the front cover off, and you push the bearing from the back, and there is like a Welch plug, like a self-expanding plug, which goes in the back there, which I presume seals the bearing from the engine oil. The bearing is in this part here, and you push it out from the back forwards, so the whole thing comes out forwards. Then you take off the flange, and then you put your new bearing on. And your new bearing, I haven't taken it out of the packet, and a good job too, but the new bearing is basically that. I don't know if you can see it. You can look at it online. Oh, that's a better picture. And the bearing for this age of engine is an FV500 Burton Power. There's two different types. The earlier ones were smaller. Presumably they changed them because they weren't up to the job, so they made the dimensions bigger, so you have to be careful. It's very clear from 72 onwards, I think, or from 71 onwards, I can't remember which, they were bigger. But if you've got an engine of unknown origin, you need to measure the bearing that you have, measure the shaft, and that will give you the dimension. I think the shaft is 15.9 mil or something. I think the overall diameter of the bearing is 30 something, and the older ones were smaller. Anyway, I've not taken it out of the packet, and it's a good thing I haven't, because it's held in with a little circlip in that hole. It's not really a circlip in the truest sense of the word. It's like a little spring clip. I'll put a picture up of one for you, but you can probably see in there if it's focusing, but it's rusty, and there's no wonder, because it's a hole which sits behind the fan pulley, fills up with water over time, and of course it rusts. And we've got dissimilar metals, because the bearing is steel and the aluminium cover is obviously aluminium, and everything's rusted together. And do you think you can get this clip out? Absolutely no chance whatsoever. And if without that clip coming out, there is no way that bearing is going to push out of that housing without damaging it. And the clip, normally it's like a half moon clip with a little loop on it that you can pull out of the groove. And I don't know if you can see that, but this is what's left of it, and this is the bit that broke off, and the other half is still in the hole. So this is not going anywhere anytime soon. But plus as well, if I spin it, it's actually not too bad. Since I've been running the engine, it's actually quietened down a bit. It was it did seem to be a little bit noisier before, but now it's actually been used for a little bit. It's actually better. There's no play in it, very little. There might be a little bit more when you get the pulley on. There's a tiny amount of play, but I'm not too worried. It's not making horrible noises. It might be a little dry, but what I don't want to do is try and push the bearing out and damage this casing, because I haven't got another one. They're not rare. There's loads of them around. People want lots of money for them, of course they do. But I'm not going to do this until I've got a spare case and I know that I can get a good bearing out and get the clip out and do it without damaging it. So I'm actually going to put this back as it was without fiddling about with it. So sort of good news, sort of bittersweet, hey ho. But I've still got an intact cover. The bearing's not so bad. I'm not too bothered. But I am going to change the front seal, because that is definitely, it's absolutely rock hard. There is no give on that seal whatsoever. I can pull on the side of that seal and it stays. In fact, it's got a crack in it just there. I don't know if you can see. The seal is actually cracked. It's that old. That seal has had it. So that seal is going to get changed regardless. That is leaking. And now I know why it's leaking. I didn't realise it had cracked until that actual second. So yeah, not the best of days, but not the end of the world neither. So seals are easy to get in and out, as long as you put them in square and don't damage anything taking them out. I mean, you can damage the seal getting it out, but it's broken anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I've got 2 seals as it happens, because I actually bought a single seal as it was, and I went looking for the gasket, and the gasket came as a kit with the seal in it. So hey ho, but these things happen. I've got a spare one, and seals, you know, they're always come in handy, all sorts of things. So I'm going to get the seal changed out and get the gasket off and put this back together. Right, so that seal surface, not bad. It's aluminium. Be careful if you're using a razor blade or a sharp blade to take off the old gasket, you don't dig into the aluminium. The gasket is there to take up any imperfections. It hasn't got to be absolutely perfect. It's no good if it's pitted and really corroded, but the gasket is there to take up any imperfections between this and the sump and this front edge and the front cover of the engine. So you haven't got to be 100% spot on perfect. If it was brand new, it would be ideal, but it's not brand new, and that is clean enough. I might just give that a bit of a run over with some wire wool just to make sure, but that's pretty much what it needs to be. Before you take any seals out, i.e. this one, make sure that your new one fits. Now you can just eyeball this. If you want to be belt and braces, you could measure it, but I'm pretty okay that that seal, that new one, is the same outside diameter as the old one. Happy with that. And then of course you need to double check that it goes over the flange of the pulley, which it does, and it grips it nicely. So that is the right seal. Happy with that. Now this seal may have been glued in. I hope not, but let's give it a go. So they have given us at least 3 options to push it, either with a press and a special tool, which is probably what it would have had in the old days, with a 3-pronged pressing tool to press it out evenly, or in my case just using a punch. You can see there where I've punched it. Now that seal, I'm actually surprised that wasn't pouring oil out of that seal. That is rock hard, and it's broken in 2 places now, 3 places in fact, not where I've hammered it either. I mean, yeah, there's the hammer marks, there's the cracks. It looks like it's where I've hammered it, but it's not. That seal is, I'd hazard to guess that that seal is an original seal. That is absolutely solid, totally worn out and totally had it. Okay, this seal has got to go in square. There's no need to put any sealant around it because it has got a neoprene cover on it, which is what will seal between the seal edges and the housing. There's no need to put anything around this whatsoever. Sometimes these fall in, sometimes they just push in, and sometimes they just need a bit of persuasion with a hammer. But whatever you do, you've got to put it in square. Oh, and by the way, that is the outside. That's the inside. There's a spring that runs around the inside rim, which acts on the lip, keeps pressure on the lip, keeps the oil in the engine. If you put it the wrong way around, oil will just come out under pressure because it will overcome the lip seal that side. It's got to go in. That way is outside, which is in this case downwards. Now it's started in the housing already, which is really good news, because that means I haven't got to get it started, and that makes life loads easier. And now we just got to find a piece of flat plate or a piece of flat wood that we can tap it in with. That'll do nicely. Now don't go mad. Tap it, check it. This is aluminium. If it's not supported and you're bashing it, it will probably break, and you don't want that. That would be a bad day. You will hear it go solid. In other words, when you're hammering it, this will go hard. Can't really explain it. It's a feel thing. But when you know, you know. And you can check on the other side to see if there's any gaps, and that is actually down nice and solid against the front cover. Okay, this next bit is pretty tedious. It's getting this gasket off this face, and it is glued on. I don't know if I've mentioned it before. I don't think I have, because I haven't done much with gaskets and sealing. Gasket sealer needs to be used in moderation, let's say, and I try not to use it if at all possible. This has been glued on. This is going to be an absolute ball ache to get off. It's going to leave a lot of debris and dust, so I've taken off the cam gear. Now you've got to do that with care, because the cam gear is a composite gear and you don't want to damage it, and you want to make sure that you've timed it as well before you take it off. So if you notice, if I can find the indent, just there is a little indent, and there's one on the crankshaft, and I've lined those up. As long as I don't turn the crankshaft and I put that indent back in the same place corresponding with the indent on the crankshaft gear, it will go back together properly. But this means that I won't get muck and dirt down behind all of this, which is then going to get washed into the sump. So I can keep that all nice and clean all around this area. I can blow that shaft off, get that cleaned up. I've covered up the camshaft gear. Let me just uncover it so you can see what I'm talking about. There's the crankshaft gear, sorry, not the camshaft. The crankshaft gear at the bottom. I've covered that up, and this is the sump, so that is directly into the oil pan. That needs to be covered as well, so no debris and dirt can get into there while you're cleaning the gasket material. So this is going to take a while, so I will get it done, and then I'll bring you back, maybe 2 days time. Right, there we go. Now, I had an old college lecturer when I was learning to do this job. He told me that that surface there on the end of your finger is the most sensitive surface you could ever find. And if you can run your finger around something and you can feel it's rough, but it doesn't look it, it's going to be rough. Now, this is only a gasket surface, so we're not too worried. It needs to be as clean as it possibly can be. But you know, short of taking this off and giving it a proper blast, I can't really do much better than that. And if I run my finger around it, I can feel hardly any high spots. In fact, none at all. In fact, I've gone around with razor blade, Stanley blade, some Scotch Brite, some wire wool, and I've got it as clean and as flat as I can get it, and I'm happy with that. The holes at the top, they are not blind, they go through, but they're captive nuts on the back of the plate. The holes further down are into the block, and they are blind, so me blowing air into them to get the dirt out is not blowing air into the engine.
they are blowing into a blind hole, which is then getting to the bottom of the hole, and it's chucking the stuff out that past the air jet. So we're all good there. We've covered up everything, so we've got all the dirt and kept the dirt and muck out, and everything's now nicely cleaned. And there's just a little bit on that gaskets. There's just a little tiny bit on that gear wheel that I can see, which I'll just get that out with a screwdriver. Now again, you're not going to be 100% clinically clean, because this is not an exact science. We have a filter on the engine which will catch any rubbish. If you have excessive dirt in there, then yeah, of course it's going to be a problem. Right, let's get this gear wheel back on. They say this gear wheel is quite weak because it's composite, and they recommend changing it if you're going to upgrade your engine, but there appears to be hardly any wear on it. I don't know how old it is. Presumably it is as old as the engine, but anyone's guess. Now we've got to get this on the key, at the same time get the keyway lined up and the gear teeth lined up at the same time. So this is going to be a challenge. I think we've just got to bring it round a touch so that it goes somewhere. I can't see on the end of it. The engine will turn slightly because we're on a helical gear, and if I can, yeah, there we go, that's it. Now I can see where the gear, where the Woodruff key is, just about. If I had it in front of me, it would be a lot easier. I think I'm there. Just got to tease it on a bit. We're on the witness mark on the inside of the gear wheel there, where the end of the shaft was. We've got, you probably can't see, but we've got the dot on the raised tooth is in line with the dot in the valley on the crankshaft where it came off. I haven't turned the engine any appreciable amount, and that has gone in exactly where it needs to go. Now we don't need this bit necessarily because it is the fuel pump drive, and we don't use that because we've got an electric pump, but it's got a peg with a hole. You can't get it wrong. Now there is going to be a torque setting for this bolt, and that torque setting is not much at all. It is actually 40 to 45 pounds-foot, which is just under 60 Newton meters. But we jammed it against a bolt. Happy days. Right, that is back on. Right, front cover's on. Bit of oil around the boss on the pulley, just where the seal goes in, just to lubricate the seal a bit, doesn't get over hot. There's no groove that I can detect on the pulley, so I'm pretty sure that the seal is going to work. I'll have a little bit on the inside so it slides on the shaft nicely. Find the keyway, that's at the top, and she's on. Last thing is the bolt, and we've got to torque that up as well. I don't know what that's going to be, probably in the region of a similar 60-70 Newton meters maybe. I'll double check and I'll do that. I'll just nip it up for now because it's getting to the end of the day. This has taken longer than I expected, pretty much just like everything else really. There we go. Right,
that is on. I'm going to fill that up with oil because I don't want that to rust any more than it already does. And when that gets hot, that oil should get down inside that bearing boss, so that when I do come to get that out, that will make life a lot easier. There we go. Oh, just got the alternator one to do. Yeah, that's the one I forgot about. Right, so I'm going to call this video here. Just as you watch me put the final touches to the front end of the engine with the fan pulley, then the belt and everything else, I'm going to wrap up. Next video, I've got to be changing gearbox oil and diff oil, and that's what the next video will be about. And then we've got to take her for MOT, and hopefully we'll have a successful result on the MOT. So if you stuck with it this far, thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. We've had an excellent response to the road test video that I did on the Capri, coming up for almost 2-3 weeks ago now, and it was really good to see, and a lot of people it really stirred some memories of their cars that they had back in the day, their Mark 1 Capris. That's really great to hear, and it's actually, you know, it makes people remember what they had, and maybe gets them interested in looking for stuff, you know, looking for another one just to fulfill their childhood memory or their adolescent memory, sorry, bit like myself really. Which is basically what this car is doing for me, because as I say, right from the beginning, if you saw the first video, I had one of these Mark 1s. It was a 1300L, which is very rare now, and sort of think I wish I still had it, but I scrapped it and it's long gone. But we've come full circle and we've got this one now, so I'm glad people are enjoying it. So if you enjoyed it, please, as I say, click the like button, make a comment and subscribe to the channel to catch more of the Capri. And until next time, which will be gearbox and back axle oil change, take care and bye for now.